He was a great pilot during the Second World War, and after that, of course, he was very much in the independence struggle, arrested by the British. And I'm talking about the diversity of his life. He became a major industrialist. After that, he went into politics. He entered public life, did a great many services to the nation. Earlier, he'd been involved also in the Indonesian independence struggle. He was amongst the first to think of an international prize for the popularization of science called the Kalinga Prize. So, as you said, he had so many different persons in so many different professions who he was related to, because he himself, in his own life, had lived so many lives.
Man, his elder son, Prem Patnaik, remembers.
Between politics that he was doing all the time and building industry, they were all very busy. And so what little we saw of him, he was great fun to be with it. We used to go with him to Kashmir, spend summers with him in Kashmir. We were in Puri together, we were in Gopalpuransi together. So the time that he spent with us was, a lot of fun, and we were there with our friends, and he was very kind to all our friends, and he was a very good father in those ways.
Biju Patnaik's thirst for adventure was balanced by his hunger for knowledge. His relationship with books is remembered by his daughter Geeta Mehta, now an internationally famous writer.
You know, the great philosopher Aristotle once said that philosophy was the pursuit of wonder. And I think if I remember anything about my father, it was that he was always in a state of wonder. He was curious about everything. He was curious about every person he met. He was curious about science. I never saw him without a book in his hand. I remember when we were children, he would finish reading his book, then he'd come around to all of us. Have you finished your books? I want to read your book. Here, I'll trade book. So he had that quality about him.
Well, he never had any plans for us. I think what he really wanted to give, what he used to say very clearly, was that the most important thing is a good education, because he said that was one thing that you could never take away from anybody. And the other thing he said to all his children was that whatever you do in life, do something that you have a passion for.
Arun Patnaik remembers his grandfather.
There was one day when my grandfather had come home for dinner when I was studying in Delhi. Unfortunately for me, he found out that I had not performed or done terribly well at one of my classes in school. Upon actually finding out the marks that I had gotten for that particular class, my grandfather asked me to come aside to talk to him. He told me how privileged I was to be studying in such a good private school, and that there are millions of children around the world, poor children, that would give anything to be in my shoes. He told me that he would never want again to have to speak to me about not doing well in any of my